but you are allowed to take photos, yes. Oh, we're on. Welcome, everyone, to the June 26th Mayor and Council meeting of the Borough of Oakland. At this time, roll call.
Mayor Schwager.
Here.
Councilman Bialy.
Here.
Councilman Knapp.
Here.
Councilman Kamala.
Here.
Councilman Levy.
Here.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Here.
Councilman Calhoun.
Here.
All right, again, check your phones. But at this time, I ask you to stand. We're going to salute the flag, then remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You could be seated. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. And because we have such an interesting evening and a busy evening, I'm keeping my mayor's report short, and it is mostly about recycling. And we have a very active green team in Oakland, and they are busy trying to help us all recycle and keeping everything clean and healthy. So the green team has worked with Oakland ShopRite to recycle solo cup, plastic cups, clear drinking cups, and all brands of razor blades, disposable units, replaceable blade cartridges and units, and flexible plastic bag packaging. And if the camera could see, this is all up at ShopRite. You just dump it into the carton up at ShopRite. And to remind you, we also have the recycling bins for plastic bags and the plastic clear bags that you put your newspapers in. So you could go to the library, except our borough administrator told me today, he went to recycle all the plastic bags from his vehicle and realized the library was closed. So he will have to do it tomorrow. So thank you. So you don't have to throw them out and clutter the garbage. We have a lot of recycling bins. And to reiterate what I said last time, on June 30th, Bergen County has the Unity in the Community events. It will take place at Overpeck County Park from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's being sponsored by the Bergen County Crisis Intervention Team, and it's the growing partnership between Bergen County Law Enforcement and the Mental Health Initiative in Bergen County. Then, save the date for September 5th, at Van Sorn Park, it's the annual Bergen County Senior Picnic. It is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, it is on September 5th at Van Sorn Park. And if you need more information, our senior center has a lot of information on that. And as promised, I kept it very short so we can move on with the exciting program, which is the swearing in of 3 new police officers. Bobby Knapp, our Councilman Knapp, who is the Public Safety Chair, will be reading the resolution. Do you want to read all 3 together? You want to do which one separate?
I'll just not give the numbers of each one separate by name, and then I'll read one,
Okay.
because they're all the same. Okay. So, we have 3 resolutions. 19198 is to authorize the hiring of Officer Andrew Piccioni. Did I get it right? Piccioni. Sorry, Andrew. That's right. It said, looks like Piccioni to me. Officer Tiffany Bauer is 19-199. And then 19-200, Michael D. Donato. Close enough? All right.
Good, Pat.
All right, thanks. Okay, so this covers for all 3. Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Oakland has determined the need to authorize the hiring of a police officer ×3 for the Oakland Police Department based on vacancies and the current table of organization. And whereas the officer in charge has recommended the appointment of Tiffany Bauer Andrew Piccioni,
Vecchione.
sorry, Andrew, and Michael DiDonato, pending the completion of the necessary pre-employment testing and background checks. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the Borough of Oakland that those three be and is hereby, and are hereby appointed as police officers for the Borough of Oakland, which, with an appointment date effective tomorrow, January 27th, is that today?
June.
Do you want me to read it?
Tomorrow, June 27th, and be made in accordance with the New Jersey Department of Personnel Certification eligible list for appointment list, and their salaries will be $41,296 in accordance with the current PBA contract.
Children stay in school.
So moved.
Second.
Are you finished?
I said so moved.
Oh. Is there a second?
I said second.
All right, roll call.
Councilman Fiala.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Absolutely.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
In spite of how he read it, yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now, we're going to do one at a time, so you each can come up with your family. And since Tiffany is on the left side first, so we'll do Tiffany first.
That's the easiest name, that's why I did
Well, I'm going to go in alphabetical order. How's that? Tiffany Bauer. So the whole family could come up. Someone has to hold the Bible. It's very heavy.
That's all you.
So who's holding? You're holding the Bible? You're going to share?
Mom, you want to share?
Everybody can share and hold the Bible. Why don't you
He's the one that got her involved in it.
Oh, okay. Well, then you should hold the Bible.
No, Dad should hold the Bible.
You ready?
Yes.
All right. Repeat after me. I
I, Tiffany Bauer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and the governments
and the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties,
perform all the duties,
the office of police officer,
the office of police officer,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
And this
ability.
is optional, so help me God.
So help me God.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations to everybody in the family.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations, and since you're the one,
The mayor has
I
one.
know.
Okay.
Did you get your photo with your family? Do you want to take your, well, where's Tiffany? You have to sign it. Sign it. I'm not official yet. Sign it. Selfie, take a photo with your family. Before we bring the other guy.
Maybe we should give one to these new police officers. I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what take your photo.
After. Mrs. Ammer. No, come in the picture.
They'll give you copies.
Put it here. I know it is.
Hold there, I'll take it.
Hold on, wait.
You guys will share.
You're gonna have that little share button.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Just a humble
Congratulations.
Congratulations, best of luck.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Michael. All
I think
right,
you
your
have to say his last
family,
name, by the way.
Michael D. Donato, right? That-
Yes,
Right?
correct.
Now you have to decide who holds the Bible.
Nobody minds.
No, left hand on the Bible?
Left hand on the Bible.
Left hand on the Bible. I know, we always get
Okay.
confused.
You want to switch? Sure.
Well, you could reach over. Ready? I
I, Michael D. Donato,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and the governments
and the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
partially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability,
This is optional, so help me God.
so help me God.
Well, congratulations. All right, where's Michael? He has to sign. Michael, you have to sign to make it official. Sign and your address. And then you can do your photos.
Center. You good? Becky,
You're welcome. My pleasure. Andrew.
Michael, congratulations.
Becky on. Becky.
I'm not going to listen to him. Could you tell me how the correct way to pronounce it? Becchione? Becchione. Becchione. Smith. And your family?
Propose a resolution, his last name becomes Smith.
And someone has to hold the Bible. You ready? Everybody's ready? You ready? I
Andrew Vecchione,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and the governments
and the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
And this is optional, so help me God.
So help me God.
Well, this is it. It's official.
Thank you.
And to the whole family. To the whole. Congratulations. And now you sign. Make it official. Mm-hmm. Sign your name. And address. Right, now it's official. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Congrats. Come on, come on.
That's it. That's it.
One more. Sorry. Very good, thank you.
All right. Andrew. Good job.
So our three newest police officers, Andrew Vecchione, Tiffany Bauer, and Michael D. Donato.
Congratulations. Benvenuti.
Now, you're all welcome to stay. You do not have to leave. But we'll see you later. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to open to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone wish to speak after everybody leaves? We'd love to have you stay.
Go up to the lobby.
Yeah, shopper.
Well, where did everybody go? All right, we already had the motion to open to the public. Does anyone wish to speak? Name and address.
Don Center, 47 Thackeray Road. And this is just for the agenda item for later in the day. I'd just like to bring up a couple of things. One, Pat, last council meeting, you asked me about the survey that the Board of Ed had conducted. And they said they had 583 votes to keep and 269 to move. The thing about a Survey Monkey is that survey only went to the people whose email addresses or people who visited the school board's website. It didn't go to the whole general public of the
So
town.
those numbers could be higher.
The number, they
All
could
right,
be higher. or
This
they-
is open to the public. It's not, we're not debating tonight.
They could be lower and they could be higher, yes. But the point is, it's kind of a captive audience. And if it's only goes to the people who have children in the school board, in the local district, then questionable. Okay, the other thing I would like to say, just as a reminder, in April, for 477 votes, cost more than $21,000. That's $45 a vote. As a comparison, the November regional school board election, 1,944 votes, 4 times the votes, 0 cost. Just please keep those numbers in mind, because to me, this is a fiscal issue. It's not a competency issue about the school board.
Don, I hope you will stay for the work session when this will be discussed.
I intend to.
Good, thank you.
Can I ask another question?
No, you can't ask, you could ask, but we will not answer.
Well, that's exactly my question. When is it appropriate for a citizen to come before this council and have a discussion and get some meaningful feedback from the council? If I can't ask a question of the council and get some sort of discussion going, tell me when is it appropriate?
The open portion of the meeting is for you to express your, let me finish. You asked the question. The open portion of the meeting is to express your views. If you want to discuss each of these items with the council people, you have everyone's email address. You have the website where on the website you can focus a question towards a particular council person or me. And then if you don't get a response, you could stand here and publicly announce who you would like to speak to and have them contact you. But it is not a question and answer period.
Well, to me, that's just closed government. And I think you guys really need to be able to have a discussion with a citizen.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to, I can't even speak now, wish to speak during the open portion? Oh, yes, please. Now, the microphone's in the ceiling,
Okay,
so you have to give us your name and address.
sure. Good evening to everybody. I do not live in Oakland. My name is Manuel Martinez.
I'm sorry, what? You were sneezing, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I do not live in Oakland. 41 Joseph Street, Moonachie is my address.
Hi,
I'm here representing Segovia Prime. I believe it's, something's going on today with it, so if you have any
yes,
questions.
tonight.
I'm here to answer them if there's any need for it. And that's it.
Welcome,
Thank you.
very excited. Anyone else wish to speak? If not, I'll entertain a motion to
Motion to
close.
close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes. June 12th, 2019. There are motions to approve.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Leading.
Yes.
Councilman Pinuccelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Abstain.
We have minutes from the executive meeting of May 22nd. You already have a copy of all the minutes. If there's going to be any discussion, it must be made during the executive meeting. Is there a motion
So
to
moved.
approve?
Second.
Will there be any discussion? If not, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Leading.
Yes.
Councilman Pinuccelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
The executive minutes from June 12th, again, I repeat, you all have copies of the minutes. If there's going to be any discussion, it must be made during the executive session. There a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Will there be any discussion? If none, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Leading.
Yes.
Councilman Pinuccelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Abstain.
And now we have some presentations. Now, it's not going to be a question and answer period, as we said earlier, that it is your presentation, and so Peter Marklis wishes to address the council.
Good evening, Peter Marklis, 125 Mandego Avenue. Just one second while I try to get this to work. All right. I was in several times, the last time was in May, and this is regarding a public sculpture called Swords to Plowshares. And my point about this is it's a donation to the town. The idea is that it's to inspire all ages. It's a benefit to tourism and a business attraction. It's to create community vitality. It's to broaden intellectual thinking. There's really no public art in town, and this is something that I'm bringing forward that I hope the town will accept. Many towns throughout New Jersey are installing in their public parks public art, again for beautification, for all the reasons that I mentioned before, to enhance tourism, and also to just create community vitality. The sculpture that I presented back in February was called, again, Swords to Plowshares, The sculpture has gone through some transformations based on public comment. The sculpture is clothed, as you can see behind me. There's no longer a weapon, a gun, in the hands of one of the individuals. It's a sword. This sculpture refers to a quote about taking swords and pounding them into plowshares. It's about peace. It's about creating and peaceful solutions to a conflict. It's about utilizing resources for peaceful means. This is the sculpture that's been reinvented, as I said. It is a rather two-dimensional sculpture. It's only about 1 inch thick. It's about 8.5 feet high. It's painted on both sides with the figurative expression of two figures and then a central anvil. It sits on a seat wall base. It's about 21 inches high seat wall, and then a 9-inch high pedestal that the sculptures sit on. This is call it the reverse side. Again, the sculpture is only about 1 inch thick, so if you think of a silhouette, the sculpture definitely, the image embodies that silhouette. And the idea is that it's going to sit on a base. This is an overhead view of the sculpture. I intend to ask donations from the public and from the business community to fabricate the sculpture, the aluminum sheet sculpture, and also the pedestal. So as you see behind me, this overhead view, there'll be donor blocks that will be set into the seat wall base and pedestal that will, again, help me raise money for the sculpture, which will cost around, between the seat wall base and the sculpture, about $20,000. The seat wall base represented in this picture is located up at the Korean Presbyterian Church. Another sculpture is sitting on it, made out of jadeite. This is something I had nothing to do with, but just as an example of what I'm talking about. And the idea, this is proposed for Great Oak Park. Again, my budget is $20,000. That involves the seat wall base as well as the sculpture. And you don't need to see that necessarily. I was asked by the mayor and council to meet with the Parks Committee and to get their approval for it to go into Great Oak Park. I did that in June, and they all agreed that yes, it was acceptable to them. They weren't necessarily accepting the concept of the aesthetics. They left that up to the mayor and council, which I believe most accepted, although they did seem to like the sculpture. But their mission was really to focus on where it would go in Great Oak Park. And they suggested that it go in the Great Lawn area on Great Oak Park, and the circle in red is about where it would go. They've agreed to work with me if the mayor and council agrees for this to go into, installed into town. They agreed to work with me on the exact positioning, the location, the exact siting of the sculpture. And I was quite pleased that they agreed. So I did have a couple of requests to the mayor and council when I was here last. And one is that the mayor and council officially accept the sculpture and the seat wall base as described in this presentation as a gift to the borough, and that the borough will maintain the seat wall base and maintain the area around the sculpture, and that should the sculpture be damaged or the seat wall base be damaged, that the town will use its own resources to repair or not repair the sculpture and the seat wall base. I've also asked in the past to retain the artistic licensing, the rights to the sculpture's image, and future print or reproductions of the sculpture, and that if the town ever were to publicize this in the town media, newspaper, online, that I simply get artist credit for it. And then finally, I asked that the borough agree to indemnify me after the sculpture is reviewed by professionals in town, whether it be the building department or the DPW. They review the sculpture in its prefabrication stage, review the sculpture in its final fabrication, and the seat wall design and the final installation of the seat wall, as well as approve of the sculpture's final mounting on the seat wall. And that they determine that it's done in a professional manner, that there's been good workmanship, and that the general design will be sturdy and will stand up well over the years. As it's going to be in the hands of the town, and really I have no control over what goes on in the park. I have no control over the maintenance or the overall activities in the park of the seat wall and the sculpture. But I asked the town to take responsibility and to really absolve me from those costs of, in case somebody were to be hurt on it, or if there were damage incurred because of that.
So this is, I'm sorry, did you finish? I apologize.
Really, that is about it. Yes, ma'am.
So we have a lot to take in because we're talking about maintenance, we're talking about finances, we're talking about security, but our borough attorney does have a question for you.
And Mayor, I would suggest that you list this for a work session, let
Yes.
Mr. Marklis know when it's for discussion. And Mr. Marklis, I apologize. Are you the artist?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I just wanted to
Oh.
make sure
Yes.
with the copyright, because certainly, you know, you can retain that copyright typically.
Mhm.
You know, my understanding is once an artist sells that work, unless the copyright is sold, that's maintained with the artist. I just wanted the governing body to know that, you know, that's a policy determination they can make. I have no objection to that. We did receive your memo. Mr. Coons was kind enough to share it with the risk manager. I think we can draft the resolution in a manner if there's going to be an acceptance. Doesn't need to be specific indemnification, but we'll have insurance when we formally accept it. So I think there might be a two-part process, but certainly when the mayor and council discuss it, we'll be ready. But I have the answers to my questions, so thank you.
As I said, I am the artist, I am the designer. I might donate it as Peter Marklis, or I might donate it as Peter Marklis LLC. I'm not quite sure.
However you want to do it.
Okay.
I'm very happy though how you worked with the Great Oak Park Committee.
Yes.
That worked out really well. We have all the documentation, but because there is so much to talk about, again, with the financing, the responsibility, the fact that DPW, the Park Committee, possible vandalism if ever occurs, we will have to discuss this during work session. And then our borough attorney will draft a resolution.
I
Thank
think
you.
that again, I believe the sculpture and as well as the seat wall base will be well designed, will be sturdy. The same type of destruction could happen easily
Of
to
course.
something that's in Veterans Park, could happen to the seat wall planter that's out in front
Of
here
course.
by the police station. So, you know, those are always a possibility, but it'll be built very
And
well.
congratulations, you did such a beautiful job.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for working with our Park
Oh,
Committee.
thank you. All right. I
Thank you.
all.
We have a second presentation, Kevin Heffernan to talk about Station Park.
Good evening, my name is Kevin Heffernan,
Address?
40 Grove Street, Oakland, New Jersey. I've lived in town for 40 years. My presentation tonight, I speak as the former chair of the Station Park Committee, and the committee was dissolved in November. This presentation is really dedicated to the people of Oakland and this council. It is fact-based and is documented. As background, if I can just do this, right? The concept of Station Park started with the Station Park Committee. And the objective of the committee ultimately was to develop a grant. Very simple. There's a lot of work getting to that point, and we accomplished it. Now, but the concept was born 2.5 years ago, and the thought was a simple pocket park in Bush Plaza. Very simple concept. It would serve as as a springboard for all of downtown Oakland to beautify. It would greatly enhance our civic pride, and it would provide the greatest enhancement for downtown Oakland in over 60 years. And it would enhance property values. Pretty much there was nothing not to love. So, the purpose of the presentation is to present the facts associated with the loss of the grant of Station Park, present the timetable, and identify and hold accountable those most responsible for the loss of the grant. So why am I here? Because on May 22nd, 2019, a public discussion was shut down, squashed by the fist of the mayor of Fiat. Councilman Talamini attempted to bring this to the public light, and that was destroyed. The idea of discussion was moved to the back room, the smoky back rooms. Frankly, I find that insulting. I find it insulting, and I think the people of Oakland find it insulting. I also want to answer any questions that might be arising from this presentation, because the people of Oakland and this council need to know the facts and hold those accountable. In our democracy, the end can never justify the means, ever. The betterment of the people is paramount and can never be undermined. The governmental integrity, ethics, and sunshine must ever never be diminished. However, it seems to be the case with Station Park. The loss of Station Park is a function of misguided actions, absence of transparency, inaction, and failed leadership. On March 21st, I sent a memo, an email to the mayor. That's 15 months ago. The focus of the email was the grant funding, more specifically, CAC, Ms. Casey. She appeared unknowingly to me as the chair at our March meeting. And she had an attitude that said she had a lock on the Oakland business, Oakland grant business. I found that to be very disturbing. I went on in my email, and I said, quote, I do know that it's very bad business and potentially short-sighted to not at least investigate capabilities of competitive or grant organizations. That's very interesting. It turned out to be prophetic. There's no response to the email. It was ignored. The April 16th minutes that were approved, the minutes of the March meeting that were approved on April 16th meeting, specifically deterred, put a firewall between Station Park and downtown development, redevelopment. And it's quoted here, it's behind me. Mayor, you're fully aware of that, of the specific design limits, limiting any grant and any efforts of the park committee to just the park. No streetscape beyond the original design. The pursuit of anything beyond Station Park for downtown redevelopment would be a waste of time. Think about it. If there was downtown redevelopment as part of Station Park and sewers came through, you would rip it all up and do it again. Why bother? On top of the fact, we don't know if sewers are coming through. There's just too many variables taking outside of the focus of Station Park alone. On June 27th, I made a presentation to this body. The final design developed for Station Park was presented. And there was a very limited streetscape, a bit by 287, a bit further down the road. Total budget, $863,000, of which about $350,000 was just the park, and the balance in that budget was for the streetscape. Most importantly, it emphatically promised a zero-cost to Oakland taxpayers. No money. That presentation was blessed and we're told to continue. We did. Yet, on August 16, 2018, the Station Park grant was submitted to the DOT. If you look at the top circle to the left, it says, I quote, you have all of this in your packets. Downtown revitalization and Station Park. In other words, we're gonna reduce downtown, and by the way, there's gonna be a small park there. The total cost listed on this sheet was $2 million. Outrageous. Good intentions have gone awry. The Station Park grant application was developed and submitted to DOT that called for downtown redevelopment, that directly violated the committee decision not to pursue downtown redevelopment, required Oakland to contribute $400,000 of taxpayer money. That vastly extended the streetscape of Station Park, was unknown to other council members or the committee when this was submitted. The grant estimate, $2 million versus $863. Big number. All issues were made public to the mayor 5 months before the NJDOT decision. Interesting. Here are some examples of some of the absurdities in the Station Park grant estimate to the DOT. Asphalt paving plus $6,700 went from unit quantity went from 250 to 3,500. Unit cost went from $7 to 125. Curb areas, okay, unit cost from $27 to $50. Pavers, lamp posts, stamped concrete when the park called for no stamped concrete. Masonry walls, $55,000, and no masonry walls in the design. The mayor knew about all this, repeatedly via emails and documents. And nothing was done. Silence, no response whatsoever. Informed silence is complicity, is approval of the issues that are known to the mayor. It's approval. The mayor was CC'd and BCC'd on all committee emails since August 8th, 2018. I met with the mayor in early September 2018. This is after the Station Park grant was submitted. On October 3rd, I submitted to the mayor this document, 90 pages, 6 tabs, report of grant irregularities, hand-delivered to the mayor's office. No response, none. Silence, no action. So we have kind of a grant issue a bit out of control. The mayor's aware, does nothing. No response, no action, why not? This is a page from this report. Sequenced email trails, and 16 of them, from July 2018 to August 27th, 2018. There are 16 emails here. And these are emails pretty much focused internally of the committee, talking about all of the grant items. Yet, Mayor had all of these emails in this report, and nothing was done. Not a comment, not a response, nothing. Lest we forget, here's a timeline. Starting with the grant email to the mayor with regard to the right of concerns, grant right of concerns. Minutes, it starts in March, ends in December, or the beginning of January. That's when the grant decision was supposed to be made. During that entire period, there was full awareness of the issues and problems associated with the grant. Yet nothing was done. Incredible. The facts are clear. The end was used by the mayor to justify the means within our democracy. Unacceptable. There was a consistent effort to make the mayor aware of the issues and problems that were ignored. It was a failure of mayor responsibility. The consent to irregularities via informed silence by the mayor. No, that can't be. It was a failure of leadership. So the question becomes, what should the mayor have done during this entire period in 2018? What does good government leadership demand? The answer is there are 4 points. Step up and exercise leadership. Do the right thing. Withdraw the grant application. Make it right, as presented on 6/27 to this council. And finally, and/or find alternative grant sources if it can't be made right. And grant writers. Harking back to my March 21st, 2018 email to the mayor on the topic. The mayor created the Station Park Committee. 8 members. I was chair of that committee. The mayor was kept fully apprised every step of the way by the minutes of the meeting. The mayor ignored emails and abandoned the committee. In fact, the mayor, I don't believe, ever attended a session of our meetings. Result, nothing was done to fix the errors, to change course in submitting the grant. Nothing. And now, as we all know, there's no Station Park. With that, I conclude my presentation, and I'll be delighted to answer questions.
No questions, but thank you for your presentation. The council will be able to speak during work session or during their committee reports. However,
I'm sorry, Mayor, I just want to say, and I was actually going to save this for the committee report, but it's so relevant, I just want to read 2 quick paragraphs.
Sure.
So yesterday, we did actually finally receive an email from the New Jersey DOT, the sponsor of this grant. And they said, Dear Mayor Schwager, unless you'd like me to read the whole preamble to it. Honorable Mayor Linda H. Schwager, Mayor Oakland Borough, 1 Municipal Plaza, Oakland, New Jersey, 07436-1827. Again, dated June 18th, 2019. I received it yesterday in an email, from, I guess, from our borough clerk. Dear Mayor Schwager, thank you for your interest in the Transportation Alternatives Set Aside, what they call the TA Set Aside Program. TA Set Aside Program continues to be very popular and increasingly competitive. As a result, we do regret to inform you that we are unable to fund many worthwhile projects each year. This year's solicitation generated 120 applications totaling over $99 million in requests for approximately $15.5 million in available funding. Unfortunately, the downtown revitalization and Station Park project was not among those selected to receive funding. I encourage you to continue to pursue your goals for the community and to reapply for the TA Set-Aside program during the next solicitation. Staff of the local aid district office in your area remains available to work with you on any future applications. Please feel free to contact them directly with any questions or assistance you may need. Sincerely, Lane Rankin, Director, Local Aid and Economic Development, and it was CC'd to our municipal clerk and our municipal engineer. So, one thing that we do have now that we did not have is we've actually now been rejected for the fund, for this particular funding round. We can certainly go back and apply again. So that's number one.
That's not new
No,
news.
it's not a back and forth.
Mayor?
No, it's not a back and forth.
Well,
What I'm going to say right now is I want to thank you for your leadership on having been chairing the Station Park. We will talk about it during work session.
You know what, I do want to say, because I know that some of what Mr. Heffernan here has directed at me, that's
No, I think it's
fine.
all against me.
Can you clarify?
I think it's all against me. It's all
Oh,
against
against the
me.
mayor. Well,
Yeah.
then maybe I don't care. No, I'm only kidding.
No,
No,
however.
what I'd like to do is this, in fairness, because in fairness to what Mr. Heffernan is saying, you know, when I first got on the council, I was brand new on the council, and I got involved with the grant thing, never done it before. So perhaps maybe a good idea, since Mr. Heffernan and I think Mr. Kamala work well together, maybe I'll give up my seat on the grant committee. Mr. Heffernan, would you, if the mayor, so I think you have to can appoint you to the grant committee, that way you guys can work on the grant for Station Park, because it is still we still have a viable opportunity to get this park. And, you know, I'm not against it. If I was against it, I wouldn't have worked on it in the first place. But you know, without going into the litany of things that I made, of the notes that I made, which we can go in private if you like, or we can do it in a proper public venue. I don't care, that's your choice. But what I would say is, why doesn't Mr. Heffernan go on the grant committee? And this way, you can work on the grant, you can have your seat at the table and get the grant for the park, because it's a good park. But
Since this presentation was focused to disparage me and to put me down, and I don't know if it's politically focused
I
by your
disagree.
cohort, I think it was. However, I will say this, we had a very good group of people working on this committee. We had a representative from the Environmental Commission. We had a representative from Great Oak Park. We had a representative from the Shade Tree Commission. We had 2 councilmen. We had Lou Levy and Bobby Knapp on the committee. We had Peter
well, I was new,
Keycott.
I don't really count.
Oh, you don't count?
I was
You're a
brand new.
person. We had Peter Keycott, who was a landscaper, and we had Sandra Cora, who was a lawyer and former councilwoman. It was a very, and with Mike Guarnino from the Great Oak Park and also from the Rec Committee. The purpose of this committee, it was an ad hoc committee in this borough form of government. I can appoint an ad hoc committee. I thought it was a great committee of volunteers who were so dedicated to make this downtown beautiful. And it will be. It will be. It was as a result, because prior to that, it was nixed by a former councilman because he said it was not part of the revitalization. However, I'm not going into a debate. I let you speak, I am speaking.
I
Please give
apologize.
me the courtesy. I know you are focusing to disparage me, but I think I deserve courtesy to speak. I picked a group of people that I thought could work together and be active. In fact, your cohort was the one who brought the grant writer into Oakland and introduced me to her. She had the contacts in Trenton who thought we could help. And it was Councilman Levy who said, we could never get a grant for Pocket Park.
It wasn't
They
actually,
give-
in
All right,
fairness,
well, no,
I
it's
wanna
not a
be-
discussion, we'll talk about it later. I
It
just
was-
want to.
It was CAC who told us there are no grants for Pocket Park.
So she is now, excuse me, she is now deceased. And we are not going to point fingers at a deceased person. That is just not right, and I will not allow it. So, and you kept asking me about another grant company which does not do these kinds of grants. However.
They don't do business with the borough of Oakland. They're on this town.
We have a grant committee. I purposely, I cannot be everywhere. I try. My husband reminds me, I can't be at all places at all times. So you are correct. I can't attend every meeting, but I can find the right people that can. And I thought this was a great group. We have a grant committee, Councilman Kumala, Councilman, that's that way, Councilman,
Levy.
I'm sorry, Councilman Kumala, Councilman Levy, and we had Sandra Cora, who was never asked to come to meetings. But that is the grant committee. They worked with Marlene Casey, who I said is now deceased and cannot defend herself, though you are picking on her. We will not allow that. So, the letter did say, as Councilman Levy pointed out, we just got the letter this week. And the letter does say, try again. We have not gotten grants the first time around for every grant we apply for. There's an old saying, if you don't succeed the first time, try again. What, you could just walk away because we didn't get the grant the first time and say, that's it, the grant is over, and Station Park is over? I thought better of you, Kevin. I know you're from way back. I thought if it doesn't happen right away, you give it a second try, you give it a third try, you give it a fourth try. You just don't walk away and give up, and we're not going to walk away and give up. I disbanded the committee based on the authority given and by the opinion from our borough attorney, who will explain. An ad hoc committee has an objective. You fulfilled the objective. You gave us a great presentation of how beautiful it can look. It was, we were in awe, and I told you, it was just beautiful. It will be a great asset for our downtown. It's going to be wonderful, but we are going to try and get grants. Once you made the presentation and you applied for the grant, the objective ended for that particular ad hoc committee. Now, when we get the grant. I'm not saying if, I'm saying when we do get the grants, because we're not giving up. You may give up, you may want to walk away, but I'm not going to allow anybody to walk away from this idea, because it's such a beautiful idea, and it will enhance our downtown, and it will beautify our downtown. And yes, we will have sewers, which I'm so excited about, but it will be around the park. I am not letting that park go away. I am not. And if you're willing to just walk away and give up, then go ahead. We'll just have to resurrect another committee when the grant comes. And we're looking for a new grant company. If you have ideas, please give your ideas to Councilman Levy. And Mike, our new, what is his title? Assistant Administrator. He has been wonderful in writing grants. He's been helping us. We're getting grants for other items. So we're looking for a good grant company. She is not around anymore. We can't use her expertise. And she did have expertise. And she did have the contacts in the state. So, you do what you want. You want to walk away, you walk away.
I didn't
If you,
say
do-
that.
I'm talking. I asked you to give me the courtesy. If you want to walk
Then give me the
away,
courtesy
you
according to
can walk
correctly.
away. I am not going to let this item, this situation, this park, this idea, this beautification of downtown walk away. And our borough attorney is the one I listen to for legal advice, and I'm an attorney. When it comes to municipal government, I listen to our borough attorney. And we discussed this, or the council were all involved with this discussion. In the back room, as you called it, during executive session for advice. And it was legal advice, and what did you tell us? Us, not me, us.
Mayor, this was discussed, I believe, in October of 2018. You asked me to look into it. I provided the information. I provided a letter. You requested me to provide that letter to Mr. Heffernan. In that regard, there were no improprieties with regard to the grant, and the expenditure of funds does not exist until a grant is awarded and a determination is made by the governing body whether to accept or reject the grant. So although a grant's applied for, it has to be formally accepted by council action.
And what did you say about the ad hoc committee?
Oh, the ad hoc committee is created by the mayor, so
And
certainly
then
can
you
be
said-
created or rescinded once the job is done.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I just?
No,
Yes.
no,
Hey,
during
No,
work
this is the
session.
point. You let Mr. Levy speak. I just.
He
I
was
want a
in
moment.
response, I'm
Well, no,
stopping all
this is No,
discussion.
he mentioned something about the grant committee, okay? So I have a stake in this. So
I don't want to back and forth. If you're
what-
going to speak, you could speak.
I'm going to speak. I think this is in Oakland's best interest to move forward with this grant. And this park.
Absolutely, we
And
want
here's the issue. And what I like to do is clearly there was some confusion between what was presented to us as a council from $350,000 or $400,000 up to $1.6 million and $400,000 in payments that the town would have to be responsible for. So what I'm proposing is I'd like to make a motion that we continue, direct Mr. Coons to look for grant monies up to $400,000 to revisit this grant and this park and move this thing forward. This way, there's no ambiguity for applying for $1.6 million, $2 million, and just focus on the park. So I make a motion right now that we direct Mr. Coons to find grant funding up to $400,000 to support this park.
Open, all right. This will be done during the open portion of the section. That's the proper
In
procedure.
the business section, Mr.
Very good, thank you.
Under resolutions.
Mayor, I do really believe honestly that Mr. Heffernan and Mr. Kamala should be on the grant committee together, because that way they can work on it. I'll forfeit my seat because I have a.
I'm not allowing you to forfeit your seat. You've been a big asset to the grant committee. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, next. Thank you for your presentation. Very well done, and we appreciate all your information.
Thank you. Please quote me correctly next time. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Please quote me correctly next time.
Please what?
Quote me correctly.
Quote you correctly.
I did, yes.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, we have something to approve the social affairs permit of Oakland, I lost it, my screen went dark, sorry. Oakland Fathers Club, and this is for a pig roast.
So moved. Second.
Well, don't I know the
No.
date? I can't find the date.
July 20th.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here we go. Here it is. And it's a charitable organization.
There's a picture of the pig there, too.
Oh, and tables. And it's at the Elks Club. Okay, now we have resolutions, and I will read the resolutions. And we'll go by consent agenda. If anybody wants to pull any out, please let me know. Resolution 19-170, appoint representatives to the Bergen County Community Development Regional Committee, and designating Borough Administrator Richard Kunz to serve as the mayor's representative. And 19-182, this was held off since the last meeting, and to appoint an assistant tax collector, who will be Lydia Lisinski as the part-time assistant tax collector at a salary of $35 per hour with no benefits. 19-188, cancel capital balances, and the ordinance 18-770, B&G, Detective Bureau Reno chairs, $15,000. Resolution 19-189, opposed Rockland Electric rate hike, and that's very important. The towns, and then as you know, I'm part of the Northwest Mayors Group, and we are all trying to get this resolution going to avoid the rate hike that Rockland Electric is asking for. 19-190, authorized donation request to TD Bank Charitable Foundation. They are willing, and we're asking by a donation and application, $10,000 towards the band shell. So, and we already have how much from
10,000.
from Vision, so that's 20,000 already towards the band shell.
How much do we need?
I don't know, how much is the band
I
shell?
think the split is gonna be 85,000 or thereabouts, Rich.
I know
We're
that
gonna
was one
All right,
estimate,
well, let me finish.
that was being looked at,
Yeah.
and the thought was that, we have money from Bergen County,
Right.
and the,
Grant money?
yes, and the money from Visions, and hopefully the money from TD
Right,
would offset what would otherwise be our
Excellent.
part.
that's gonna be
of the
great.
country,
It's
the
gonna be great,
contribution.
Great Oak Park with the band shell and the Great Lawn concerts. Resolution 19-191, approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant contract with New Jersey DOT for the Patriots Way Bridge project. Authorized DPW promotions is 19-192, C. Kelly and M. Goodrich. Chris Kelly, grade 1 laborer to grade 2 public works repairer at $44,821 per contract. Matt Goodrich from grade 1 laborer to grade 2 public works repairer, mid-grade, $48,900 as per contract. Now we have resolution 19-193, which is to authorize a liquor license transfer. And that is a person-to-person transfer, and it is from, it's located at 110 West Oakland Avenue from Wolfpack Ltd. to Segovia Prime LLC, located at the same address. Resolution 19-194, Chapter 159 JIP Wellness Program, and this is for the program that has been initiated. Resolution 19-195, Chapter 159 Alcohol Education and Rehabilitation Fund. Resolution 19-196, approved vehicle auction bids, and there was a revision to this, wasn't there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles with the winning bids, and it's all in the packet. Resolution 19-197, authorized consent to a TWA application for a treatment works application to be filed by the Oakland Rehab and Healthcare Center, subject to construction, shall conform with all applicable requirements and installation of all sewer lines. Oakland Rehab shall pay for all engineering expenses. They shall pay the borough's application fees, legal fees, and applications. And that is it. Do you wish to pull any out? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinicelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Congratulations to the new paella.
We are very excited, even though he introduced himself before. He is the soon-to-be, right, tomorrow?
Yes.
You will be the owner. It's the former Timbers, the location of Timbers, and we welcome you with open arms, so thank you.
And it saves us traveling 25 miles down
It's a little ferry.
I still want you to travel though.
Little ferry, and Budaki, where is the third restaurant?
Carlstadt.
Carlstadt.
That's
All right,
good
do we do the
also.
roll call?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Mayor, it would be appropriate for Mr. Kamala's motion, since we're at the end of resolutions.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so like I said, I think it's important that we continue working on Great Oak Park and move this thing forward. Clearly, there are a few hiccups here, so I'm making a motion that we direct Mr. Coons to start working and looking for a grant up to $400,000 just for Great Oak Park.
No, Station Park, get the
Station
parks
Park.
correct.
I got the wrong part. Station Park, to find grants up to $400,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Before we take if you can discuss, and before we take a motion, if you have the names of any grant companies that you feel that you want us to have us submit the grant if it passes, please submit it to Mr. Kunz.
I have a file.
Excuse me?
I have a full file of
Please, Mr. Kunz is at Borough Hall. Mike, I assume Mike is going to be doing all the work, is that correct?
We'll see.
Please bring your file to Borough Hall. We would appreciate that, and thank you. All right, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
I'm going to vote no because of the limitation.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you, and please bring your file to Borough Hall. Appreciate you coming down and giving us your presentation, and it will happen. Don't give up. We don't give up. I don't know if you'll give up. We won't give up. Okay, ordinances, introduction. We have 19 bonds, 786 for the 2019 capital purchase, Fire Department, Administration, Police Department, Department of Public Works, Buildings and Grounds. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
And this is to introduce. So, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Final hearing.
So moved.
This is the introduction.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
And now we have to do the resolution 19201
That
to
will
auth,
also be July 10th, just so you know.
July 10th, yes. I just assumed, I guess. Thank you. But we are so lucky to have Lisa as our borough clerk. She keeps us on our toes, and she keeps us straight and
But
narrow.
at 6:30, she had blonde hair.
Resolution 19201 is to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of a new automotive vehicle, including original apparatus and equipment in and by for the Borough of Oakland.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now we have final adoption of ordinance 19 code 785, amend ordinance conditional use residential zone. On your, in your package, you had a letter from the planning board attorney, Joseph Russo. It also pertains to the Smith subdivision, Ryerson Avenue. As you know, it was introduced, and it was brought to the planning board where we discussed it, we agreed, and now it's back to the council for final adoption. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
You have
Any
to
discussion? What? Right.
You need to open
Oh,
the
right.
public.
open to the public.
Sorry,
Public hearing.
it's late, right.
I take
Is
back
there a
my
motion?
second.
I take it back. Sorry. Motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone wish to speak on the introduction bond ordinance, amend ordinance conditional use residential zone having to do with the Smith subdivision and Ryerson Avenue properties? Motion closed?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we can vote. Amend ordinance, conditional use residential zone 19 code 785.
Can the borough attorney just give an overview of what?
You have a letter?
Yeah, basically what happened, and this emanated from the planning board, councilman. There was this zone that was created which rezoned the property, which was the Smith subdivision. There was a provision in that ordinance which didn't make any sense that said any deviation from the bulk standard would require a review from the Board of Adjustment as a conditional use. didn't make sense because it seems to contradict with the municipal land use law. It's a bulk requirement. Since it was a subdivision, the planning board had that authority. Planning board had the last subdivision on that property come before them. They saw the, what I'll call the error in that ordinance and submitted it to the governing body, reviewed it with the planner. I reviewed it, was suggested that it be revised. We prepared a revision. That revision went to the planning board. Since it emanated from them, they agreed to it. So all that it is, it's really what the standard for the review. It's a bulk standard which would typically be reviewed by a planning board as opposed to the zoning board.
I just wanted everyone to understand what we were doing here.
You
because
understand?
I understand.
Okay, good.
I wanted the public to understand what we're doing.
Does the public understand?
I believe they do.
There is a
Now they
motion?
do.
Now is there a motion?
Yes, so moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Biala.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Vinatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now, for the work session item on school election, there was discussion about whether or not the council had the right, if we voted majority, to ask for a referendum on the November ballot to change the school election. I, in turn, had asked our borough attorney to get all the information about this before we even discuss it. And our borough attorney is going to speak because he called me today to tell me this is the legal procedure.
Lucky me.
Yes.
Okay. Basically, the referendum came up as after the last meeting. And there was a question that was raised by, I believe it was Councilman Bialy, is that perhaps we can do a referendum on a public question with respect to the school board election. And when you look at the authority for submitting a question, and it's under Title 19, the statute's 1937-1, which only allows you to get the sentiment of the voters if there is no other statute by which the sentiment can be ascertained. Well, you have the specific statute with the law that we've been talking about for the school board, because there are 3 actions that can occur to move the election. Board of Education passes a resolution, the municipal governing body passes a resolution, or the voters can pass a public question that is presented to them at the November general election. And there's a certain number of signatures that are required. I asked Lisa to take a look at it, and I believe there was a movement back in either, I think the statute was in 2011, 2012, to move the election by voters signing a petition. And there were not enough signatures to bring it to the voters. So there are 3 options for, or there actually are 1 option for the governing body. The 1 option is that you can adopt a resolution, say move the election. We spent a lot of time on this. The Board of Ed came, I believe there was someone from the regional board, went back and forth for the reasons and what should be done, what shouldn't be done. Board was straightforward. They said, look, we don't want to move our election. We believe that the right to vote on the budget is important. That's a decision that can be made. I think as I indicated at that meeting, we have a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but we do have ping pong effects with these elections. We've seen other communities for various reasons that have moved an election to November, that have brought it back to April. So the policy determination that has to be made is that you're at the point, the only authority you really have is to determine whether this body wants to move it. Citizens certainly have the right. If there are enough citizens that want to move the election and that it's an important issue to them, go get your signature that has to be put on. Lisa, what's the threshold, 15%?
I think it's 15% of the total registered voters.
Which is almost 8,000?
It's over 8,000.
Yeah, 8,000.
So 15%, quick, take out the calculator.
1,200.
Whoa.
1,200 signatures.
That was very
I
impressive.
expect Steve to have jumped on that one.
He was carrying the 1.
Am I right, Steve? I'm just retired.
So, I mean, that's where it's at. So I think it's a very simple, straightforward discussion.
You need a
If you-
petition of 1,200 signatures.
Yeah, but that's available out there, but it does, if the governing bodies, feel strongly enough and there's a majority, we can pass a resolution.
Only resolution, but we can't do the referendum.
Can't do the referendum, but you can do a resolution, and the resolution moves it.
Moves what?
Our
Moves what?
resolution would move the Board of Election to November.
You
Correct.
said no.
No,
I
no,
spoke to you.
our resolution. There are 3 ways that this could be moved.
Right.
Board of Education adopts a resolution, the governing body adopts a resolution, or there's a petition by the public that garners enough signatures to put it on for a referendum.
I thought you told me it can't be,
It
we can
can't be.
only do it if there were no other alternatives, but there are alternatives.
Two separate statutes we're talking about. A non-binding referendum to take the sentiment of the voters is only if there is no other statute available.
That would be non-binding,
Correct.
but this would be
This would be
binding.
binding.
So I misunderstood when we spoke.
So the only avenue that you have is to adopt the resolution, if that's your desire, to move the election.
So this is work session.
Right.
If you think that you want to have this come up for a vote, then we will have I called to actually I called to congratulate on handling the dog issue at the
Yes.
graduation. There was a little issue with a service dog, and I thought it was handled beautifully and everything is okay. I wanted to make sure everything was okay. And I gave her the heads up that we were discussing this tonight. I wanted her to know about it, that if there were any board members who wanted to come and speak about it, we would love to hear them. We don't have anybody here to speak about it. If you think we should have, we could put this on the agenda for the next meeting. We will have our borough attorney draft a resolution and then discuss it next week. Next meeting, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of that. And
I know you're not in favor of that, but do you want to have it open so that the people know where everybody stands, and have our borough attorney draft a resolution, and then everybody will know where everybody stands, because it has to be voted on.
I see what you mean. Then we would give
Right.
our.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And Brian, one other thing, the 70 municipalities in Bergen County, what's the number that have elections in November?
Probably most of them. I think there's
60?
Yeah, I think I was gonna say,
62?
there's gonna be 4 or 6 that do not have
Right.
November election.
Your
I still don't
Councilman
think
Munak.
it's our,
When is it?
I think this is a school board decision. I don't think this is something
Well,
that.
that's why if it's,
That the borough council shouldn't make. I
But
don't-
legally, it's not. It's open
I
to
can
us,
understand, but
the
like
Board of
I,
Education, and to the
like
people.
I've
which
said
is
before,
why, if we have
just
our borough
because you can do
attorney,
something doesn't mean you should.
all right, if we have our borough attorney draft a resolution, it will be discussed at the
Well-
time, it'll be voted on, and then it's over.
What?
Then it's completely over.
Well,
Then Mr. Senate could go out and get 1,200 signatures.
Sounds like you think it's gonna just lose, huh?
It's not a discussion, I'm just saying that that's another alternative. You heard the 3 opportunities. The council passes a resolution, the Board of Ed passes a resolution, or the people submit a petition of at least, because you did the math, very good, 1,200.
But if most of us, let's just say most of us on the council don't want to do that, we'd
Then
be.
it will go down, and then
No.
it's over.
But I'm just saying, then we won't waste Mr. Chakowski's time preparing a resolution.
He'll do it. He said he would do it. He's very happy to do it. So that is what I'd like to do. I put that on the next agenda.
I would just say also that, just let's say that we wanted to move the election, that the council was going to pass the ordinance. I would rather I would rather take a poll, and then we present that amongst the council, and then we would present that to the Board of Education, saying that if we were to vote, this is what would happen. And then the Board of Education could take that information and then have the opportunity to move the election
We know what the
themselves.
Board of Education, their opinion is. We've had them at a meeting for a very
Okay.
lengthy discussion. I am asking to put on the agenda for the next meeting,
Yeah,
our
we'll
borough
discuss it then.
attorney draft a resolution, then everybody will know exactly what has to be done, what's going to happen, then there's no more guesswork, and it's over. It's either one way or the other, and that's where we are.
Can I just ask,
Of course you can.
pardon my naivete here. Right now, when the school board has their special election, the
Special election, you mean
the
April?
school board election, we're writing the check for this, correct?
Correct.
So if the school board feels that
The
this
school
is
board
something
writes
that
it.
they
But then
want.
they
Comes out of
give
the school
back.
board budget.
Right, but we
Why,
lay
wait,
out the
can I
money, right?
finish, please?
Comes out of the same pockets.
Listen, no, I understand it does, but you know what? I think I have a hard time explaining to this gentleman why, why we're doing it this way, other than saying, well, the school board wants to do it, and you guys know me, that's not a good enough answer. But if the school board professionals feel that this is when they want to do, this is when they want to have their election, far be it for me, who has no kids, to tell educators what they should and shouldn't do. However, as a manager of this organization, I will say, fine, if this is something you feel that you should do, then you pay for it. And yes, does it come out of everybody's pockets, the same pockets? Yes, it does. But they're paying for it, and then they have to answer the questions to the general public.
And
If we
again, I
have
would
a
suggest to Mr.
resolution,
Senate to
it's
go to
over.
a Board of
One
Education.
way,
It's not over.
one
It's
way
still
or the other.
open up to a possible choice by the
Well,
residents.
1,200 signatures, yeah.
well, he'll go
Right,
out
they-
and
they-
get a
they-
petition.
Can still be happening.
Right.
If it's over, if we vote that it's over, you're gonna be happy with that?
What do you mean is he gonna be, he's not gonna be happy with that.
Can I answer?
No, open.
Of course not, we can't talk to the
was
council when you ask
rhetorical.
a question.
All right.
Mayor, can I?
At this point, I am asking as the mayor, I'm asking our borough attorney to put a resolution on the next agenda, whether or not, you know the wording.
It'll be ready.
It'll be ready, and then that's when we'll have our discussion. We should invite the school board, they could speak during the public portion. Mr. Center, I'm sure will return and speak at the open portion of the meeting. And at that, is there anything else? No, that's it on work session. At this time, is there any new business?
Yes, actually, I do, Mayor.
You do?
Yes. We've been working with the New Jersey DOT on trying to get the drainage facility that they have adjacent to exit 58, and subsequently Allen Brook repaired. We had a meeting yesterday with New Jersey DOT, New Jersey DEP. I guess Senator Cardinale was here, Assemblyman Alt was here, Assemblywoman Shapizi, Center Representative. John Yakimic, our borough engineer, was present. The mayor was present.
You were
We had-
present.
What?
You were present.
I was present. We had representatives from Bergen County or New Jersey Soil Conservation, a gentleman named John Sino, who's one of their engineers, who was also present. DOT was actually
Nick,
very good.
what about Nick?
Nick Agnoli, our floodplain manager, environmental engineer, was here. So one of the things that we went over some of the issues, we went out and looked at the drainage facility. And there's a consensus that there certainly is a problem with their drainage facility. It's starting to endanger the exit ramp for exit 58. Obviously, the issue of how to pay for this is going to somehow rear its ugly head at some point. And Senator Cardinale, in the course of our meeting here, apparently brought up the issue of the DOT funding the repair for this project affecting the Patriots Way Bridge grant. Would that possibly impede getting the money for Patriots Way Bridge? And I was kind of curious because these are two separate projects that really have nothing to do with each other. And as we were leaving to go on the field trip portion, I asked him, and apparently he had indicated that Councilman Kamala was, being diligent and being very concerned that Patriots Way Bridge got done. So I don't know, I mean, if you want a grant for Station Park, and it's a DOT grant, I don't know, that may also come out of that money, so I don't know how you guys want to work that out, but we'll have to talk about that at some point.
Well, you're on the grant committee.
Well, really, not willingly.
You're not leaving. Any other new business?
Not for me, no.
Okay. Old business.
Mayor, I just have one thing. If you recall, I brought up in December about the Christmas tree that's in the center of town, and I put forward a vote by this council to have that tree removed. It's still standing. Can we get that tree down and replaced?
Where is it? No,
I don't
it's
remember.
that really shoddy tree that's by the railroad track. I think the one thing we have to do, John, we have to look and make sure that's actually on our property and not, because that's really close to, I think, the railroad.
You gotta be very careful with the railroad.
Yeah,
They control.
Eric, they have zero sense of humor.
And Lou, as long as we can look into it, I mean, for some reason it's stalled, and I did have a chat with, and I know you're on Shade Tree.
Yes,
If you
you
could
did,
just-
I know.
If you could check with Ed, I did have a chat with Ed about this. and-
John will email me tomorrow, and as long as it's, I mean, we talked about it, as long as it's not on railroad property. Of course, if it is, Brian, we can maybe, talk to your friend.
Or county property, right?
No, it's not, actually, it's not county, if it's county
county
property, it's
road.
home rule. But the county,
Well,
I
talk to
just
Tom.
remember from when we were working on Station Park, and wasn't there a little section in there that the county said we could do what we want with, or it wasn't county road?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Talk to
it's
Tom.
all right.
So,
So there is an area there that was the county's, but is not.
I don't remember him
I'll
talking
look at
about
it tomorrow.
You?
Yeah,
You
he
do?
did.
Oh.
and I did talk to the Shade Tree,
It's a shot.
it's a shot tree, but he's got a replacement that'd be really nice to replace it with, so if you
Well,
can work
talk
through
to
Shade Tree.
talk to Councilman Lee, he's
And if
the
we-
liaison to Shade Tree.
He just did talk to me.
Well, that's it, so you'll continue the discussion. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're just on fire here.
I know. I'm so excited, we have 3 new police officers. Okay,
Just 3 more
Councilman
people to catch me
Palomini,
speeding in town.
Well,
Council Committee?
well, we're not done with old business yet.
Oh, you didn't see your hand go up?
I didn't, but Lou didn't raise his hand either.
He speaks up.
I do.
I just want to comment on Eric's motion on that grant. I completely support the park. I was on the committee, I'm not against the committee.
I know, you're one of the 2 council people.
I'm not sure about the $400,000 part of the grant. That's why I voted no, because I didn't get enough information. I don't know if that's a matching grant, is the $400,000 on us? Is that enough money? I don't know. I almost think it was a good decision, but a little bit of a knee-jerk type decision. Maybe we need a little more homework. Those numbers we have, which are in the area of 400,000, by the time this happens, are gonna be 2 years old. So that, everything may have changed, and we may need more than that. So I just don't think we had enough information to make that. That's why I said, I voted no because of the amount. And the way it was
Motions
done.
could be amended,
I'm just telling you my opinion on
Right.
it, so.
Bring him back.
Now I'm done with all
everything
of
could
it.
be amended, everything is negotiable.
Do we have to put a money,
My
a dollar figure on it?
participation in the grant committee, is that amendable?
No. You're on the
Is it
grant committee.
necessary to put a dollar amount on that?
He made the motion for a dollar amount, and you voted.
I said we're looking for
It
grants
could
up
be
to the-
amended.
Yeah.
Okay, any other
Is
old
there a
business?
number that we would be looking for, Rich? You know a little bit more about it.
So typically with these grants, it really depends on the particular grant program. Some are, have a particular match, 50%, 75%,
25,
right?
50.
Others don't, but others, you almost never get 100% funding, and John can attest to that. Whenever we put in for local aid funding,
That's what she said.
Is that John?
we know that, all right, that, there may be a road that's gonna cost 500,000, and we know, even though we're putting in for all of it, that, the likely grant range is gonna be between 2 and 250,000 or something like that, right? So, I think I understand the council's intent of what they're looking for here, and we will, take a fresh look to see if there are sources out there and what those may be and what amounts we may be able to secure them for. I won't necessarily be limited by the fact that it's, $400,000 when, push comes to shove, when we are successful in doing this, that gap could be greater or lesser.
Very good.
Okay.
But wait a minute, the presentation showed more than that.
Well, let me just, because it's important. So, the issue of whether or not,
Is your mic on?
I know, he's like the microphone police. The issue about this being a matching grant was brought up, and to clarify, what CAC told us, or what.
That was Marlene Casey.
What Marlene said was that it is not a matching grant. It was, you apply for everything, they're going to give you a percentage of it, and that's all you have to do for this year, or for whatever period. So in other words, we can apply for $2 million. They may only give us 1.6 million.
That'd be nice.
We can do the 1.6 million, we're not obligated to do the entire project. Because they understand that the scope of work, especially over the period of time from when we applied for the grant, when we were gonna get the grant, and what the process, this is all coming back to me now. So that was the
You woke
discussion.
up.
It was never a matching grant. It was that we were gonna be expected to do a portion of, pay for a portion of the work, but we were not obligated to do that. So if the street lights from Oak Street to the Exxon station was $400,000, and I'm picking a number, we didn't have to do the street lights. We could defer that to get another grant, or just not do it if we wanted to. But there was no matching grant per se.
Okay, and just remember that Sandra's on that grant committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, any other old business at this end? I can't see you behind.
That's all.
No, I'm not.
All right, then we'll go to committee reports. Councilman, I'm sorry, talking about Sandra. Councilman Calamini. Oh.
Sure, my council report. Before I begin, I just have two things that I want to, a tournament of over four games, they allowed 3 runs.
Wow.
So it was a nice victory for the boys. And then secondly, I'd just like to say thank you to the DPW for everything they did for the Oakland 11U baseball tournament that made it a success. They were so helpful.
And congratulations to your public events committee for the carnival. You
Yes,
bring that up? Good.
yes. And so many people during the tournament that we hosted right in town, so many people came to me and commented, people from other towns, how wonderful our facility is and how well maintained it is. And a couple of people even commented how they wish that their facilities were as well maintained as ours. And that's really because of the DPW's effort and everything they did. I mean, they did so much for the 11U team to get the fields ready, and even during the tournament, emptying the garbage cans and the recycling cans just to make the place nice. They don't have to do half of the stuff that they do for us. I mean, we decided we wanted to have the tournament. They didn't need another job, but they were there. And also with the carnival, so much that they do for the carnival, the DPW. Without the DPW, we would not be able to have that carnival.
And your committee, they did a great job.
And then, and then we could talk about public events. Then public events, another successful carnival. And thank you to all the volunteers on the committee and all the volunteers for all the vendors. Just a wonderful town. It's so great. It's just a wonderful event how the town comes together. Everyone appreciates it. I just want to say thank you to the volunteers. Just know it doesn't go unnoticed what you do for the town. And please, we still need members on the public events committee. And like I always say, it's a great group of people, and you get to be involved in wonderful events like the carnival. And so if you could spare some time, come and join us on the public events. School's out. And we'll be discussing the election also. And then finance, we had a finance meeting going over stuff like we always do. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. Library, good news. Summer reading is officially started at the Oakland Public Library. There's a program for children, adults, and teens. Each is unique and includes special activities, including prizes for the summer. Now, here's some of the interesting things that they're doing there for the kids. They have a game truck coming down on July 25th, 5:30 p.m. Teens and tweens come hang out in the library with a game truck. How about laser tag, Friday, July 19th, 5:30 or 6:15 p.m. Join us for laser tag in the library. Snacks will be provided for grades 5 through 12. So if space is limited, registration begins Thursday, June 27th, 5 o'clock. So our library is getting very involved. Also, 225 people registered today for the summer reading kickoff of Valley School. And that's fantastic for the work that Peter and the people down at the library are doing. And also, circulation is once again up over last year, and things are going well at the library. Rec Commission, I attended the Rec Commission meeting last Tuesday. Just a reminder for everybody, football and soccer signups, including cheer, are going on right now. Please get your registrations in by June 30th. Otherwise, you will be assessed a late fee if you register after July 30th. Also, the roller rink, update on that. Bid openings will take place next week for the roller rink, so we're making progress on that. Also, the mayor, myself, and Pat Pignatelli attended the SAA Hall of Fame ceremony, and once again, I want to recognize Kevin Cleary, Paul Marchezo, and Bobby Calderon for the fine work that they did in being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Senior report, the summer movie schedule of weekly afternoon movies continues every Monday at 1:30. Flyer with the weekly movie schedule can be picked up at the Senior Center and is also available at on the Borough website. Bingo will be held on Thursday, July 18th at 1 p.m. The Senior Center will be holding an event at the Oakland Rehabilitation Center in conjunction with the Oakland Walgreens store. The event will include topics on skincare and sun safety, which will include free makeovers by their makeup department.
Makeup?
Yeah, free makeovers by their makeup department. Although it is free, pre-registration is required. The event will take place on July 24th at 1 p.m. Beginning in August, a new fitness class will be added to the regularly scheduled programs every Friday from 12:30 to 1:30. The center will be hosting an arthritis fitness class. As with all other fitness classes, this will also be a drop-in class. Please save the date of Thursday, October the 3rd, for the fall trip to the Paper Mill Playhouse in Millburn. The stage play offered will be a new musical called Chasing Rainbows, which is based on the life of Judy Garland.
Oh.
Tickets will go on sale beginning September 3rd.
That's it?
DPW.
Oh, I was gonna say, that would have been a very short report.
Change page, I have to change my page. The water department employees continue their annual fire hydrant flushing program. Every borough-owned fire hydrant is being flushed, pressure tested, and inspected during this process. The project will run through the months of June, July, and August. If a hydrant does not pass the water department's inspection, the Oakland Fire Department is immediately notified and the hydrant is labeled out of service. The hydrant will then be replaced as soon as all other underground utilities are located and identified. In most cases, out of service hydrants are replaced within 5 working days. If residents have any questions, please call the Department of Public Works at 201-337-8103, extension 3001. Our Public Works employees continue to work with Wind River Environmental Inspection Company on a project designed to inspect and video record all the borough-owned sanitary sewer lines located within our 3 sewer service systems. This project will identify specific locations where underground water may be infiltrating our wastewater collection system, along with identifying areas that may require future maintenance. Residents may continue to see Wind River employees opening manholes in their neighborhoods until the end of next week. A Public Works employee will be on site to answer any questions that residents may have concerning this work. Sewer service will not be interrupted during this inspection process. And finally, the road department employees will be out as weather allows, continuing to repair potholes throughout the entire borough. Residents with specific areas of concern should notify the Public Works Office by filling out a service request on the borough website or by contacting the DPW directly at 201-337-8103. Thank you, Mayor.
That's it?
That's it.
Councilman, you're up.
Yes, thank you.
No, actually, he wasn't, he was.
Yes, last night I attended the Oakland Green Team meeting.
Oh, you need somebody. You got a resignation today.
Oh, really?
Chopper.
Yes, unfortunately. At the Green Team meeting last night, several items were discussed. One of them being styrofoam collection. They would like to find out if we could put a styrofoam collection box down in the gravel area by the roller skating rink.
Can we?
I don't know,
Richard?
if we can, Ramsey, get a load, I can't believe this, in their first month, collected 2 tons of styrofoam.
But it's limited. It's not all styrofoam.
No, it's when the comes in the packing box.
The
The big foam,
not the little, what
No,
do they call them?
no, peanuts.
Peanuts, right.
No, but I mean, seriously, Ramsey in 1 month collected 2 tons. That's.
But can I ask, Ramsey collected 2 tons of the styrofoam, what did they do with it?
That's a good
Did it
question.
cost Ramsey money?
They recycle it, yeah, it gets recycled.
But did it cost money?
I mean, did it cost money?
Did it cost money to recycle the styrofoam?
No.
What that cost?
No, they make molding from it.
Who does?
The company that does the
Oh,
molding.
they pick it up, so they'll pick it up.
They pick it up and they make
There's no disposal
molding.
cost with the
Does
program.
Ramsey make money?
There's no disposal cost with the program. The issue is one of volume. Now, we have a small BCUA grant. The thought was to put it back by where the clothing bins are. We're looking for potentially a bigger container to hold more, so it doesn't have to get emptied as frequently. Carol Peterson actually came to me, Brian, this is something I was gonna be talking to you about in short order, something else for him, that the Elks may be willing to allow us to use their facility for a container spot.
Yes.
Rather
You
than
know,
the
that
gravel
that
down by
requires
the
some
rec field.
discussion on the mechanics of that. There is a cost, depending on who does it, to, truck it to the disposal facility or to the manufacturer.
Oh, they
that's
don't
gonna
pick it
reuse
up?
I don't believe so, no. But there's no disposal fee to get rid of it.
The idea,
No
though,
tipping fee.
Councilman Talamini, is to keep this out of the waste stream. No, not to deposit the styrofoam, 2 tons of styrofoam in a landfill.
No, I
Because,
understand.
2 tons of styrofoam takes up a lot of space. But if you can recycle it and make it into molding, that can be put to use, it's better than putting it in a landfill. That's really the bottom line. They also discussed having a program in the middle school for a green team.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a club. You don't need a teacher to
Oh, so
to
you could
monitor
go.
it. Well, I think Carol Peterson said she would go, but anyway, they are looking into that, having a program where the children in middle school would create a green team. Let's face it, children can get parents to do a lot of things, and if the children are excited about recycling will improve. That's definitely a fact.
That sounds good.
Also,
You should talk to the school board, right?
Yeah, I'm just writing myself a note.
Also, through Carol Peterson, collecting plastic, we recycle enough plastic, and Trex is going to, 500 pounds of plastic.
The plastic bags?
Yeah, Trex is going to give us a bench, a park bench made out of the Trex.
Don't forget to throw in your tomorrow.
I have a deck made out of trucks.
The other thing they're talking about also is the community garden.
Yes.
They would like to have a community garden. It's in the mayor's program for points. The only thing is,
Where?
where is one point, but the other thing is, you may not be allowed to put a fence around it, because you're not allowed any permanent structure as per the county. However, we're going to ask them whether or not we could put up a snow fence during the growing season and then take it down. Because a snow fence can be
Right, it's
taken
not
down
permanent.
in a couple of hours, really. They just roll it up.
What's the fence for?
And keep the deer out or any other animals out.
That eat all our trees and bushes.
It's gonna be a high snow.
Unless he's gonna start serving
And-
venison.
Anyway.
What about just covering, Pat, what about just covering it or surrounding it with chicken wire?
That's the other thing, chicken wire, yeah. They were talking about
That's
chicken wire.
that's what I had suggested the other day, and the issue there with the county is specific to, you know, properties that were purchased with open space funding because of possible covenants, or location to the river, and things of that nature.
Yeah, they don't want the fence in the event of a flood to collect debris, you know, and block up the area.
Well, you can get a very open piece of
Yeah.
chicken wire.
Our-
You have to talk to the chickens about it.
Our assistant to the administrator is looking into that.
Thank
very
you.
good.
The other question for the DPW, John?
Yes?
They understand there are 8 cigarette butt receptacles on borough property that they collect, they empty. They would like,
Wow.
8? 8, yeah. They would like to know if the DPW can bring it all into one collection area and then let Carol Peterson pick it up.
I brought this up to Anthony, and he says, if they think I have enough time to go around picking
No,
up.
no, no, no,
cigarettes-
no, they pick it
But
up
if
anyway.
there are 8 locations.
They pick
and
them
pick
up.
it up once a week.
They do.
And bring it
The
to a
DPW
central.
picks, yeah, yeah.
I'll
If-
talk to Andy.
Yeah, if you just bring it to a central location, they'll take
Okay.
care of it, okay? In relationship to grants, Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Which committee?
we're all familiar with the Volkswagen settlement.
Yes.
There are so many grants available.
We're
One of
working
them,
on
We
one of
are.
them is an
The
electric
we
bus.
have, we're
We're
talking about that
already.
in the municipal plaza.
Getting-
Not the
getting-
plaza, the
No, shopping
municipal
area.
parking lot.
Municipal shoppers parking.
No, this is for an electric bus. You're talking about charging stations.
This
For
is,
cars.
right, so the program has lots of different grant opportunities available. Charging ports, like we were
Right,
talking
we're talking
about,
about that for the municipal.
potential
parking
for
lot.
vehicles of certain weight classes,
Yeah.
as
Electric
well.
bus.
So maybe a bus, so it's all things that we're exploring, we're seeing if we're eligible for. If we are eligible for it, then whether or not it makes sense.
Is that the
to
grant
apply.
committee?
So it's something actually we're,
I think Michael is.
Michael?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I spoke to Rich about this not too long ago, and I spoke to the Community Development Block Grant people, and they put us on their radar, and to make it even more inviting for a grant to get us a new bus, because our senior bus is kind of old and it's been through an entire engine rechange
Mhm.
4 years ago. They said if we go into a shared service with Franklin Lakes, we have a very good opportunity of putting this together.
Well,
So-
whatever.
Oh, that would be
But-
good.
So the
We'll talk to
CDBG
Greg
has
Hart.
us on their radar, and I talked to Bob Esposito, who Rich and I meet with at the CDBG meetings, and he said we'll be good to go at the end of this year.
So,
We'll be put on their list.
Would you talk to Greg Hart and Franklin Lakes and see if they may be
yeah,
interested?
there
Yeah,
were
we
already
did.
some discussions. I think we need to have some follow-up regarding their interest.
Ariel has called over to Greg
Oh,
Hart.
that's the same one. That's the same,
Ariel has called over to
that's
Greg
the
Hart.
same one.
Yes.
I got it, okay.
You started too much.
Is that it?
No,
Oh,
I'm trying to finish. Mayor, as you know, last year, or this present year, we accumulated 245 points to be a bronze community.
sustainable.
You need to do more in order to upgrade to a silver rating.
Would a recycling center help with that, Pat?
Yes.
Well, just
Yeah.
since we're all talking about it.
There are several things that we could do to help us achieve that. For instance, if we include a certain item in our stormwater program project, we get points, which we don't have now. We just
Like
this-
what?
Carol Peterson is a clause that you have to put into the program, into the stormwater project. Also, our master plan. When we do the master plan, if there's a section you include in there, you get more points. There's, I think the Board of Health has an animal section about care of animals. There you get more points. If not, so there are several items that there are grants available to do all this.
Next, you talk.
So Carol Peterson has a list, and I asked her to forward that to Richard about the items that will help us achieve silver, what they are, and where the grants are that will help us do that.
Richard, you'll contact Carol Peterson?
I'm sure if Pat said that to send something to me, I'll be seeing something from her in short order.
Okay.
And we'll look at it. So just to clarify too, if you've ever looked at the Sustainable Jersey program, there's about 16 different action categories. Right? So it's not just all environmental, there's social justice things, there's arts in the community, there's a whole wide ranging. Right, and that actually ties into an action that the Sustainable Jersey, or that the Green Team is interested in pursuing. Some things require purchases, and Sustainable Jersey will try to help towns out financially with that. Others are, policy changes, things like that really don't require a lot of money.
You're not finished, are you?
So it really depends on what we're looking to do as to whether or not there's grants or we even need grant money for it.
Okay,
I'll
and
follow up with Carol.
all right.
Yeah, and the one thing I just would like to say about the Green Team, you have a very, very enthusiastic group. They're really trying to do what's right for the environment. You look at that floating plastic island between Hawaii and California. It's the size of Massachusetts. It's a floating island of all plastic. They're finding plastic particles now in fish because of all the plastic being dumped in the ocean. They're finding plastic in babies from all the food that they eat. Pieces of plastic inside them.
Well, we're very fortunate to have Carol Peterson.
And look, let me tell you, Carol Peterson is a wealth of knowledge, number one. She puts a lot of time into it. I don't know, it's got to be two of her in order to get done everything she gets done. And she has a lot of good ideas. We might think some of them are a little bit out of the ordinary, like the cigarette butt collection, but let me tell you something. It all helps. It really, really does. I was so impressed with Ramsey collecting 2 tons of styrofoam the first
Look,
month.
she has the razor blade collection up at ShopRite.
It's astronomical.
So she can use the razor blade.
We have to do whatever we can. Look, our children are our future.
Yes.
If we can't live in our environment,
That's my line.
our children are not going to be able to live in our environment.
I agree with you.
So it's very important. It's not something to discourage or laugh about. Disparage, thank you, or laugh about, because it's very, very important. And we have a great group of people,
Councilman, we
hard
are
workers.
very
Yeah.
appreciative of
Hard
everything
workers.
that Carol
Hard workers,
Peterson
yeah.
does.
Yep.
And I've told you that every time I talk
And
to
Carol,
her.
if you're listening, thank you so much for
Yes.
the work you do, and all the members of the Green Team. They really put their heart and soul into it, and I do appreciate it.
And now we have Councilman Levy.
Let's see, the Shade Tree Commission, which will be meeting on the first Monday of July, will be meeting at Borough Hall in the
Oh, and that's the same night as environmental,
conference room.
isn't it?
I don't know.
You're the environmental liaison.
Well, I don't have the calendar in my head. I can't use my phone because it could be a violation.
So for Shade Tree, we are reworking the current Shade Tree ordinance to make it a little more concurrent with some of the towns that we feel have a little bit better ordinances. The highlights of some of the changes are going to be, we're not going to prohibit somebody from taking down trees on their property, but we are going to be changing the replacement structure to make it more commensurate. Right now, we sort of have a one-for-one. You take down a tree, you need to replace a tree if it's healthy. But with the mortality rate of new planted trees, we wind up losing, and in the end, the environment loses in the end. So we're going to correct that, and we hope to have that to the borough attorney, I think, next month, possibly in August, for review by, the
Thank
for
you.
write-up and review by the council. Flood Commission meets the second Monday of the month, also at the conference room at Borough Hall. I want to remind everybody, and this is exceedingly important, on August 28th, the Ramapo River and its direct tributaries, and I've said it before, are going to be reclassified as C1 waterways. This means that any property or any land that is within 300 feet of the bank is going to be subject to severe restrictions by the Department of Environmental Protection for any kind of soil disturbance. You know, like myself, I live within 300 feet of the Ramapo River. I can repair my driveway. I can't extend it 1 inch. So any type of new soil disturbance is going to be very difficult to do. If you have a building, and you plan on putting up a building, you know, August 28th, if you're within 300 feet of the river, that is going to become much, much more difficult and much more expensive for permits and whatnot. So that is very important. Also on August 28th, the new New Jersey DEP base flood elevations will be out for the area stretching from the railroad trestle down to the Oakland-Pompton border. Due to the Army Corps' project to install the Tainer gates down at Pompton Lakes, the base flood elevations are being lowered slightly to more accurately reflect what the hydrology is in that area. So those residents that live in that area, depending on where their house is, where their first floor elevation is, in relation to these new 100-year flood or base flood elevation marks, you may see a little bit of relief in some of these increased flood insurance costs. And then I think, nobody heard you. They heard me, his thing picked me up.
All right, I have a few of them, Councilman.
Well, you had your turn. It's
I
his
have,
turn.
I have one real quick, Mr.
Okay, go
Knapp,
ahead.
would you mind if I make one announcement? Quick announcement. One quick announcement. Hazardous Waste Collection Day is going to be July the 20th. And this is where you can get rid of all your old paint, gasoline, pesticide, herbicide, anything that's hazardous to the environment. Bring it to the Camp Gore Reservation, 200 Camp Gore Road, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman?
I love this thing.
Well, so tonight was a record on how long everybody spoke on their committee's reports, so I am discontinuing mine for tonight because I think everybody's been here long enough. The only one I'm gonna say is, the police.
Did you clap?
Yes, he did, and rightfully so. The police, one announcement from the police is to remind everybody, I don't know what camera to look at, so I'll look at the mayor, to be sure to lock your vehicles, because there's still a ring of people going around. My truck was burglarized 2.5 weeks ago. They tried stealing it out of my driveway. I have the whole thing on video. These people got some guts.
Did they catch them?
No, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You're not going to get them. You can't read the plate. But then they left my house, drove up 10 feet, went to my neighbor's house, and it was just pretty bad. So what they do is I left my truck unlocked. I didn't realize it. But I didn't leave the fob in it. If I left my fob in it, that truck's gone, because they just put their foot on the brake, hit the button, and they're out. So that's what everybody needs to remember. One, lock your vehicle. Two, if you don't happen to lock it, don't leave the fob in the vehicle, otherwise it's gonna be gone. And it's not just our town, all the surrounding towns. You see it in the paper and on other announcements, so.
Brian's got a nice Mercedes.
That's, I'm
My
cutting my
phone tells
report
me
off
if it's
there.
locked.
You guys, I have to shave after all your reports, so just don't wait.
Mine wasn't that long. I
Okay,
kept getting
then with
interrupted.
that, I'll entertain a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills to be paid, Councilman?
Total bills to be paid, $537,280.23. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Natt.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Councilman Calhoun.
Motion
Yes.
to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting will be July 10th, right here at Council Chambers. Be safe. And lock your car doors.
Might still be there.
So,
Are you signing these tonight?
Pat,
Manny?
Pat, hazardous waste pickup, Pat?
July 20th,
9 to 3?
9 to 3.
Manny? I spoke to your attorney to make sure that you're okay because of your leaving who made me.
So what has to happen is,
About the river.
I just did one for Leon.
And your attorney said it was-